morning and welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, Hampton, Georgia. Just a little south of downtown Atlanta. The mile-and-a-half racetrack, the site of our American Commercial Lines 200 qualifying. We're going to set the field for today's race, which we run later this afternoon. Set up at 1:30, and the race will begin around 2 o'clock. Amazingly enough, the wind has gone down, and that's allowed the clouds to just drop down on the racetrack. There's been a little bit of precipitation in the area, and so the trucks are running around the racetrack. That's the service trucks are running around the racetrack right now, trying to dry the surface so that we can get qualifying underway. Hello, everyone. Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, Rick Allen with you once again. Talking a little qualifying today. Now, yesterday Sprint Cup qualifying took place, and we saw some different lines. Now, we talked yesterday during practice about the bumps in 1 and 2, the splitter getting down there, and then in qualifying for Sprint Cup cars, some guys ran almost up near the wall.
Yeah, I was amazed to see some of the lines that guys took. I watched Jeff Gordon from my car. I was on pit road. It was almost my turn. I watched Jeff Gordon go into turn 1, and he never went out of sight. You know, he stayed up in the middle of the track. I said, wow, there's a different groove up there. Many guys elected to run through the middle of the track, even Kurt Busch, who seemed to border on being high on the racetrack. In a truck, though, with the less power, I believe it'd be really important to keep the truck low. You know, the Cup cars have so much power. You can roll in there going a little bit faster up high and then keep your momentum up and try to gain speed on the back straightaway. I think that's what some guys did. In these trucks, though, I believe you're going to want to commit to the bottom and take the shortest way around because they're wide open anyway.
Absolutely. And then that's what these guys know, that when they got up this morning, they're going to go out here at 9:30 and whenever we get this track dry and hold that thing on the mat. And they know to qualify up front, that's what you're going to have to do. And you can do that at this racetrack. Now, when you get in the race and you get a lot of laps on the tires, that's not going to be possible. But for qualifying, these guys are going to hold that thing down wide open. They're going to enter these corners at about 185 miles an hour and not lift when they get to the corner. And I can't tell you how hard that is for the people that have never done that, how hard that is to do, especially the first time.
And look at and think about this too. They've got a curve thrown at them. Why'd those Cup guys run high? Darn. I was going to run wide open. I thought I had that figured out, and I was going to go follow that line, but maybe I should go a different direction. So there's always mentally, qualifying's historically been the toughest thing you do all weekend mentally, because you've got to turn it on and turn it off, get it done that quick. Now we've got some variables these guys have to look at.
And we saw that yesterday. Mark Martin was out of breath when he was getting out of his car, maybe because coming off 4 he was completely sideways. We didn't see one incident yesterday in practices. Are we going to see maybe guys pushing the limit a little bit more here in qualifying?
Well, you know you have to do it. You know, if you want to be up front, it's got to be on the mat. And if the truck isn't sticking, sometimes it's after it doesn't stick when you find out. You know, you go in the corner and there's no warning. You're wide open. You're saying, this is okay. Oh, here we go. So it can happen in a hurry.
All right, let's head down to the garage and hear from Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. I think we certainly got to look for Kyle Busch today. You know, when we talk about Atlanta Motor Speedway, he has been very, very good at this racetrack with 3 victories. But yesterday we had 2 practices live here on Speed. The first one we didn't see much of Rowdy, but the second practice he got in that truck, ran a bunch of laps, and was very, very happy. Now here's the bad news for the rest of the field. He's got chassis number 11 here this weekend, and this is the truck that Rowdy has won 8 of his 10 events in, and it has been 3 races in a row right here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This exact chassis is the one that Rowdy has used to go to victory lane. He was very happy at the end of that second practice yesterday, and that could be bad news for the rest of the field today as we get ready to go qualifying here at Atlanta. Now let's check in with Adam Alexander.
And if there's one guy, Ray, that will stand in his way, it's the guy with his truck parked over my shoulder. I'm talking about driver 33, Ron Hornaday. He, too, has a win at Atlanta. It came several years ago, his first ever victory for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. But the thing about Hornaday, he's finished second here in the last 3 races. If you know Ron, you know he's a hungry man. And after 3 consecutive runner-ups, I would say he will be ready to go when the green flag goes in the air later this afternoon.
And again, we've got to set the field. Ron Hornaday, one of the guys who looked very good in practice yesterday, as well as his other Kevin Harvick Incorporated teammates. I mean, Ricky Carmichael looked good, and obviously Kevin Harvick looked good out there. Those two worked together a lot during practice yesterday.
We know when we come here to Atlanta that we expect a good race. Even though Kyle has won 3 of the 4 times that he's run here, you know, they've been great races typically, and we expect nothing more than exactly the same here, or nothing less than exactly the same here today. But there were several good trucks. Ricky Carmichael right there, the Monster Energy Chevrolet was one of them. The Charter Chevrolet for Kevin Harvick was another one. So we've got several good trucks. And what we were talking about earlier, we're talking about qualifying and the multitude of lines that you may be able to run qualifying, whether you run on the bottom, middle, or top like Kurt Busch did to qualify in the front row for the Cup race last night. But hey, when we get in the race, you talk about multiple lines now. we had Kyle Busch pass on the apron here last year, and NASCAR said, hey, calm down or whatever. Then he went around against the outside wall and passed him 2 or 3 wide. So you can pass anywhere on this racetrack, and that's what makes the racing here at Atlanta so good.
It's always fun when we make the trip to Atlanta Motor Speedway. A lot more taking place right here on Speed as they continue to dry the racetrack. It will be qualifying here as soon as the track is dry, and then Sprint Cup Series practice at 11. Then another practice for the Cup Series. Follow that at noon. And our Camping World Truck Series kicks off at 1:30 with the setup in Christabota. Tomorrow, NASCAR Race Day kicks off the Cobalt Tools 500. And then NASCAR Victory Lane winds everything up and puts a period on it. The trucks running around the racetrack trying to help dry. You see the jet dryers out there as well. Drivers anxious to get out and qualify. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Atlanta is brought to you by Camping World. Visit campingworld.com and check out this week's featured special checkered flag recliners. Get a little fog in the area. Mist early this morning put a little bit of dampness down on the racetrack, and so the crew and the people here at Atlanta Motor Speedway are trying to rectify that situation.
Sure, the track looks pretty close, Phil. They've got a pretty good hand on this thing. It shouldn't be long before we're rolling.
It never rained very hard. I mean, just missed it a little bit, and it's obviously a very low ceiling right now. But I don't think it's going to be long till we get rocking here.
And the Weather Channel is located here in Atlanta, and they said that it would be beautiful today.
Yeah,
so
75 degrees.
I talked to Mike Seidel yesterday in the garage area. He said, "What's it like just knowing you're going to have a perfect weekend here in Atlanta?" I said, "That's great, Mike. Appreciate you confirming that for me." So maybe the perfect part is yet ahead. I'm sure the weather will come together for us.
Yeah, when this burns off here, it's going to be nice.
It's going to be a gorgeous day. Let's head down to the garage. Adam Alexander.
And you know, when Ron Hornaday won here a handful of years ago, you started outside the top 15. No one started any deeper and won a truck race at Atlanta, but I know your sights are on starting at the front of the field. How is the truck for the qualifying session?
Well, we didn't do a qualifying run yesterday, but I know Rick Ridd and the guys that got the BMW Chevrolet trimmed out, so we'll see. We drew number 6 last night. Figured it was going to be pretty good, but with the moisture in the air, it might slow it down. So we're not worried about qualifying other than the pit stall, and we'll see what we got for.
Where do you run on track? Do you go high to avoid the bumps? How do you analyze that, and how do you handle it when you're out there making your run, Ron?
When you go into turn 3, that actually, the truck dictates what you're going to do, is if you're going to run it high or on the bottom. But I'll get a pretty good arc in there and try to get the motor freed up and come across the line, and we'll just see going into 1. I mean, usually try to miss the bumps and then come to the bottom, and Goodyear tires will stick. Hopefully we get the track dry enough.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Ray?
Well, Adam, it's been a good start to the season for Chad McCumbee and the guys at Greenlight Racing. They're sitting 8th in points. But, Chad, looking back at that California race, some interesting strategy put you guys up there to have a great finish.
Yeah, it really did. You know, Bobby Daughter made a great call on top of the pit box. And, you know, but just as much as anything, we made the right adjustments that final stop. And the thing just never fell off. I mean, I knew that we had to use those good tires up the first 10 laps. And it seemed like after that, everything fell off and kind of leveled off. And our truck just never fell off. It was so much better than it was at the beginning, and just kept on trucking, man. We were able to drive right up through there, and it was a lot of fun passing all those trucks.
Yesterday in the first practice, I stuck my head in the window, and you said, this thing is the best truck I've ever had at Atlanta. Did that stay true the rest of the day?
I tell you what, when we first unloaded, this thing was unbelievable. I was super excited. The sun came out, and we had to work on it a little bit. But, you know, the tires fall off so bad here. You know, it's you really got to work on a long run. But right out of the box, these guys have done a great job preparing at the shop. And I was thinking this early draw today was going to be a good thing, but now I don't know. So we'll have to sit around. And we didn't really get to make a full-fledged qualifying run yesterday. And I really feel like that if everything was okay condition-wise, we're going to be in good shape here. But, you know, we'll to see.
All right, have a good day. We've got a pair of green light trucks at the front of the field. Butch Miller first to roll off. Chad McCumbee goes second, guys.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday is going to go 6th. But how about Dennis Setzer was about to jump in the pace car and take a trip around to check the track out, and all of a sudden Kyle Busch shows up.
Well, Dennis is a new driver. You know, this is a new young driver. Doesn't have that much experience, so they got Kyle in it.
Well, he's going to talk to Wayne Otten, our series director. Maybe that'll make a determination. Oh, well, you saw that, folks. Dennis Setzer was on his way to get in. Wayne Otten says, go ahead. Open the door, and then wait a minute. I'm going to bring in Kyle.
Yeah, get out of the car, Dennis.
How about you take it around? Okay. Randy Kaiser will take him around the racetrack. It's our pace car driver.
Yeah. Well, Kyle also, in all fairness, goes out a lot earlier than Dennis. Yeah. So he's one of the guys. He actually goes out 5th. So he's going to see the racetrack a lot sooner than Dennis will. So,
and it's a
that's going to be my story, though. Actually,
going to stick with it. Stacy Compton.
It's a talking tough call with Chad right now to be able to say what kind of shape this track's in with all the moisture in the air. It might look dry, but the trucks aren't going to perform as good as they would if it was a clear day.
A lot of talking going on before they climb into the race trucks, see how fast they can go and where they will qualify. Thursday on an all-new Bull Run, what began as a simple competition has grown into an intense rivalry. Disaster strikes when the teams push the limits of speed and strategy too far, too fast. And this time, the consequences are bigger than ever. Don't miss an all-new Bull Run with Bill Goldberg Thursday night at 10 Eastern. There's a lot of fire, and I'm telling you, that's a cool show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit reminiscent of the old Cannonball Run.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a legitimate, somewhat legitimate race back in the day.
Yeah. Well, again, we're trying the racetrack, trying to get qualifying underway. They had sent Kyle Busch out in the pace car, take a look at the track, see the conditions. Now, again, we're seeing the trucks run more or less in the groove, but that might not be where everybody's going to run in their qualifying run.
Well, but they might accidentally get there. So it needs to be dry.
One of our Rookie of the Year contenders, Taylor Malsom, standing by with Ray Dunlap.
Yeah, and what a great run at Daytona. Things didn't go quite as good for you at California, but give us a big picture of how it feels to be in the Camping World Truck Series, have a couple of races under your belt this season.
Oh, I love it here. It's having a lot of fun. This Randy Moss truck and 180 truck are doing awesome. I think we have a good shot of doing good today. We're not so good in qualifying run, but we'll have a good race truck. But I think we have a good shot to win the Rookie of the Year, and we'll be good.
Tell me about Atlanta Motor Speedway. I mean, you got to really barrel it down there into the corners.
Yeah, it's a whole different ballgame compared to California. It's the actual driver's track here. You got to wheel it around here, but it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the race.
All right, tell me about this skeet shooting deal. How's the shoulder? I mean, that was a new experience, huh?
Yeah, I could hardly move it yesterday, but it's a little better today. My buddy Sam beat me, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. I'll get him next year, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I was really glad to help that charity out and stuff, and it was a good deal.
Tell me about being involved with Randy Moss Motorsports. A brand new deal for you this year, and just kind of that whole big picture of being with a teammate like Mike Skinner.
I'm just blessed to be here. Randy's an awesome guy. Mike Skinner's an awesome guy. They've helped me so much, and couldn't be asked for a better team and a better truck and everything. I've got everything I need this year, and I'm just looking forward to the rest of the year.
All right, we wish you good luck. That is Taylor Malsom. He is one of the guys who's going to be in a good battle for Rookie of the Year this year, and Adam's standing by with another one of the contenders.
And that would be James Busher, Ray, who is, of course, driving the 10 truck in 2009. And you and I were just talking about qualifying here, and I've seen veterans get out after making a qualifying run at Atlanta. 5 minutes later, they're still shaking. So what's your anxiety over your first run at Atlanta in the qualifying session?
Well, I normally don't get too worked up before qualifying, but I bet after qualifying I'll probably be shaking like the veterans. From what I saw in practice yesterday, you should have to hold it wide open all the way through for the whole 2 laps. And truck started off all right in practice yesterday, but by the end of the day, the circle bar racing guys got it pretty good. And I think we should have a decent qualifying lap. I'm not sure if we have a shot at the pole, but definitely shot at top 10 for qualifying and get this Max Force International F-150 up to the front at the end of the race.
2 races under your belt, Daytona, California, and now some time here at Atlanta. So how would you rate the difficulty of these 3 facilities?
Daytona, we had a really good truck. I mean, I think we had a shot to win, but California was all right, and this is actually the same truck we had at California. We finished 13th there, so hoping to improve on that a little bit and get a top 10. Just finish the race is biggest goal. The way I look at it, you can't get faster without finishing the races, so you got to work on them to get faster instead of working on them to fix them.
He is mature beyond his years, guys.
At just 18.
Thanks, James.
One of the youngest drivers we have in the Camping World Truck Series, again running for Rookie of the Year. Teammate to Rick Crawford, who will be making his 300th start in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series later this afternoon. Drying of the track continuing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, qualifying will be taking place here in just a few more minutes as they continue to dry the racetrack. Now, one of the big things, obviously, is pit selection. You qualify on the pole, you get to choose first. Second, third, on down is how you choose your pits. So that's become even more key, I think, with the new rules for the Truck Series, where you either have to change tires or fuel, but can't do both on the same pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 times that you basically can get blocked in your pit.
Right.
So it's double now important is in importance from what it used to be. And fortunately here at Atlanta, the pits are fairly large. Well, you get some of the racetracks that we go to, such as a Martinsville, and it is extremely critical. And the problem is, you know, there are only so many good pit stalls, and the good pit stalls, I mean, are the ones with openings on either end.
Right.
You know, you can get by with an opening on either end. And looking here at Atlanta, there's probably not more than about a half a dozen good pit stalls here. You can see the opening right there, and that's more than likely they would not have a vehicle pitting in that opening. They would be on either side, and they would have that opening either coming in or going out, and those are a huge advantage.
And these pits, like you said, Phil, they are quite spacious. So you want to get the pole, and when you get the pole, you're like, yes, and I get to make my pick for my pit too. So a guy that had a great run last night, obviously, I think the first time in like 270 some races, he got the pole. Wow. Mark Martin, and watch this car. He is just on it.
And he was good all day too. He went great car in practice.
And that's what you got to be, Phil, 90% of the time to get the pole. He had to leave pit road knowing that car was going to stick, because it did all through practice. And then certainly with the temperatures cooling down, that gave him extra confidence. So he just got this thing and hammered down. And he talked after qualifying. He drives down to the bottom of turn 3 here. Everything's going perfect. He's wide open. And he said, oh, I can't hold her wide open. Watch right there. It just gets a little bit wide with him, and he was afraid he was going to right into the wall.
I was glad it was over with and still in one piece.
Now, you're talking about 2 ways to skin a cat?
And this is a guy that qualified second.
Right behind Mark Martin.
Yeah.
And look, he's running nowhere near the same line. And in qualifying, historically, everybody goes to the same place.
Right. And you know, it's one thing, and you're one of the best at running the high side of the racetrack, but I'm telling you, to go up there and run the middle to the high side qualifying when you know you're on the gas, going to run 186 or 7 miles an hour, I mean, that takes a little special character there.
Well, I'm totally impressed by that lap. I just can't believe that he ran that far off the bottom of the track and went that fast.
Second quick for Kurt Busch.
Look how high he is right there.
See Kyle Busch climbing out of the pace car. Looks like Stacy Compton's going to have his turn.
Stacy goes out 3rd, Kyle 5th. So he's just getting the guys that go out early a look at the racetrack.
Again, that's Wayne Otten on the left, our series director.
And a little bit of moisture on the camera lens there. I think maybe that might tell you the story too.
Would you guys know that Mark Martin became only the 2nd driver ever over the age of 50 to win a pole in the Sprint Cup Series?
Wow, I did not know that.
Who is it?
I know the other one.
Who's the other one?
Harry Gant.
Yes, Harry Gant. That's right. They talked about it yesterday on Speed, if you would have been watching.
Yeah. Well, of course I was.
Well, we were.
1.5 hours.
Let's go back trackside to Ray.
Well, Butch Miller's the first guy to go out on the racetrack right now, so he's getting a word with Rowdy here. Rowdy, you were in the pace car. What's the track look like?
It's close. It's very close. We just have a couple minor issues, just trying to get the dampness out up against the wall in case guys want to go up there and off of 2 and into 3 and stuff like that. So besides that, it looked like the bottom was pretty dry. Just had one issue off of 2 between the bottom and the middle paving seam right there. It's just a little damp.
You look and sound a lot better than yesterday. How you feeling?
I'm sounding worse, but I'm actually feeling a titch better, so that's kind of funny.
We watched the Cup qualifying last night, and it's just amazing what a handful you guys have going around here. How different is it from taking a lap for qualifying in a Camping World truck and a Sprint Cup car?
It's a world of difference, because here you can hold it wide open. You know you've got the grip. You know you can do it. The Cup cars, you know, you don't know where to lift. You don't know where to pick the gas back up, because going from the day practice to the night qualifying, you just don't know how much grip the track has in it, how hard you can drive the car, and exactly how much grip the guy's built into your car, you know. So you're kind of just driving off a feel, off a sight and everything, and so you just hold it as much as you can hold it and pray for the best.
All right, thanks. So no matter whether we get qualifying in today or not, Rowdy Bush will have a good starting spot for today's race. Adam?
And Scott would have a good starting spot today if we do not qualify as well. And one of the reasons why that great run you guys went on late in 2008, and in the midst of that was right here at Atlanta, top 10. How do you feel about it this weekend?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident here with Atlanta. This will be my 4th trip here, and we've really started to put together a lot of really good runs on the mile-and-a-halves. It's really due to Jeff Hensley and the Toyotas. We really came on strong at the end of last year. I think here was a start, or either Talladega before this or something, was the start of a run about 5 top 10s at the end of the year. I hope we can get that run of top 10s starting with Atlanta, but here in the spring instead of the fall later on.
You know what? It's been a tough start to 2009. Bad luck at Daytona, again at California. What's the confidence level of this club right now?
Well, we've ran good everywhere we've been, so our confidence level is still really high. We're just hoping to get a little bit of luck and a little bit of breaks to go our way, and I think we'll be good. I think we'll be strong all year, and I really do think that we'll come later in the year, I think we'll be in the top 5, and we might even be fighting for it.
You're a young guy, and it's still kind of early. You tired this morning?
Yeah, I've been yawning, been trying to wake up. Just I'm hoping qualifying gets going here and get a little natural adrenaline boost. That'll get me going.
Maybe I should ride with you, because I was a little tired yesterday, you know? Maybe Albertsons has an energy drink they sell that could hook us up, huh?
Yeah, I saw you yawning yesterday. Albertsons really does. They have a great selection of products, about anything you could want. They carry a lot of variety, and if you're looking for something, you can normally find it at Albertsons.
And you know what? He just got on me about what happened yesterday. I'm glad the guys in the truck picked on someone else today.
Oh, don't worry, Adam. You were right there next to him.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
We had split screen going there. It was in unison. The yawns were taking place.
That's good. It's kind of a lazy morning with the overcast conditions. And
yeah, Brian's like, okay, am I boring you in some way?
Yesterday it wasn't so boring of a day. It was sunny and pretty and trucks on the track, but Adam can't even pull it together when it's nice outside.
Well, we have fun. We're still trying to get this track ready. Kyle Busch came off, said he thinks it's close, so we hope to get qualifying started soon. Race day tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. kicks off the Cobalt Tools 500. You won't want to miss it. JR, Kenny, Jimmy, Wendy.
Real deal, MWR.
MWR tomorrow.
Yeah, Hermie be part of that show as well.
That's right. We're still waiting for the track to dry here at Atlanta Motor Speedway so that we can set the field for today's Commercial Lines 200 later this afternoon. On Monday, Steve Burns, Michael Waltrip, and Greg Biffle break down all the action from Atlanta on This Week in NASCAR. The panel will also preview the Bristol race. You won't want to miss a feature with Greg Biffle and his dad. This Week in NASCAR, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. See some more moisture on this camera as we get a wide view of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Still trying to qualify for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Adam Alexander.
And you know what? Atlanta Motor Speedway is this guy's favorite track. We're talking about Matt Crafton, and usually the reason it's your favorite track is because you're good. So was it good yesterday?
Yeah, I'd say it was really good yesterday. First practice, actually, our fastest lap was on lap 12. I mean, that's just absurd to even think that. I mean, usually it's your second or third lap you're fastest in these trucks out here, and ours was the 12th lap. And we just kept making a lot of changes, quite a few changes, like this brand new truck we took to California and had to change a lot of things from what we were doing last year to this year. The place seems to be a lot more worn out, just a lot less grip right now. I mean, it is for our truck, and a few different people, my teammate, he had said the same thing. I think this Menard Chevy will be all right now.
This is a rhythm sport, and we run a couple of races early in the year and then get a break. We run here at Atlanta, get another little break. How hard is it to find a rhythm as a driver and a team when the early part of the season is spread out like it is?
It's tough. I mean, but it helps. I mean, if you have a good run at California, you have a good run here, and you have 2 weeks off, it just keeps guys upbeat for 2 weeks, and it just helps me for 2 weeks. Then we get to go out, and after California, I went out in the sand dunes, went out in the desert, took the sand rail out there, and had a pretty good run at California. We finished 7th, but had a really good truck. Scott hung a lap down with paper on her grill. So, I mean, that's why we decided to bring this truck here, because it's the same California truck. So it's going to be good, I think.
We'll watch Matt Crafton when the green goes in the air later today, Ray.
Well, so far this season, Adam, it's been a 5th and a 6th place for the 33 team. Rick Wren, your observations of that and the early part of the season?
Well, it's a little bit better than we started off last year. Of course, it's not what we're hoping for, but I mean, I think it's a good start to the year. You know, the first 5 races still make or break a season as far as I'm concerned. It kind of sets a standard. I think it's okay. We didn't run as good as California is what I wanted to run, but I was good with Daytona.
The last 3 times Ron has been here, it's been a 2nd place finish for him. What's it take to get over that hump and get this VFW truck to victory lane today?
Well, I wish I know. I sure am tired of running 2nd. You know, those 3 races, you know, we've started on the pole every race. One just by rain out, but a couple poles, and led the most laps all 3 races, and just didn't get the cautions right at the end of the race. But you know, we got the same truck we had here last fall, and it was a dominant truck, and our teammate won the race. We ran 2nd. So I just want to come out of here with a good finish today. You know, I'd like to win, but you still got to look at it. If you can run in the top 3, it's a good day.
Okay, we wish you good luck, and if we get to go qualifying, this 33 truck will be pretty close to the top. If we don't qualify, they'll start on the pole.
Yeah, the one thing we can't, you know, say is Ron Hornaday hasn't had success at this racetrack. 3 times he's finished 2nd. He's also won at this racetrack back in 2005.
And what a great finish that was. Wow.
Yeah, so he's been a part of a lot of success at this very racetrack. We have 5 drivers in the field that have won at this racetrack.
Talking about another guy that's used to a lot of success, there's Ricky Carmichael talking to Hornaday. I was watching last night the Daytona 200.
I did too, on Speed.
How fun was that on Speed, under the lights, and then got me all fired up for tonight. The Supercross race, it takes place.
And I think Ricky helped design the Supercross course, right? In the infield there at Daytona.
Yes, I think he did. You're right.
You know, one thing Ray touched on is the fact that Ron Hornaday will start on the pole. We will revert back to last year's points if qualifying is rained out. And you would think that Johnny Benson would be on the pole because he was a champion. But he actually changed teams, and they go by car owner or truck owner points. And so Ron Hornaday, by virtue of being 2nd last year, moved up to 1st when Bill Davis's team disbanded.
Right. Ray Dunlap.
And Hornaday talking over with his teammate here, Ricky Carmichael. And your observations about Atlanta, real good in practice yesterday. You like this racetrack?
It's hard. It really is. It's frustrating, man. They hit the same lines all the time. And I was just talking to Ron. I'm like, well, what about qualifying? There's a little mist, you know, from the fog and everything. You still just wide open. He's like, yep. I said, that just ain't right.
Originally, this race wasn't on your schedule, so how pumped were you to say, hey, I get to go run another one, put one more on the schedule?
Oh, so happy. Got to thank Kevin Harvick Incorporated and Monster. They just can't believe it. You know, I did all right in California. I think that helped my situation out, so pretty neat. I know the boss is racing today, so I sent him a rendering of my tailgate, so when he's following me, he knows what it looks like.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you'll have those 2 teammates in the race today. Is there any kind of thing that you try to gain from that or anything extra you learn? Do you want to get behind Ron or Kevin to try to learn more about this kind of racing?
Absolutely. You know, anybody of that stature, them 2 guys or whoever, a veteran, I think is good to be behind. So I need to learn. You know, I was good single runs yesterday, but totally different when you're around other trucks. So I'll look forward to it. Just want to qualify decent and do the best we can and bring this thing home to the finish.
Okay, we hope you have a good time. That is Ricky Carmichael. He has had a great start to the season, guys. 8th place at California last week. That's why they got here to Atlanta.
Yeah, he started 3rd in that race as well. That's his career best starting position. Was 3rd, and I think it somewhat surprised some people. The GOAT, by the way.
Yeah, Ricky also was 7th fastest in the final practice yesterday, so he was certainly catching on to this racetrack.
So the veteran talking with the rookie about the different intricacies about this racetrack. Ricky mentioned it, Ron, so there's a little moisture in there. Do you still hold it wide open? You sure do. Welcome back. Jet Dryers still on the racetrack, waiting for them to leave the racetrack so that we can get qualifying underway. 36 trucks are here for 36 spots, so the fights will be for pit position and pit picks.
And where they start.
Kevin Harvey. Kevin, exactly.
Maybe more importantly,
where they start. Two Kevin Harvick Incorporated drivers are continuing to talk about maybe racing, maybe the racetrack. Adam Alexander, I believe you've got a guy who just recently got bumped out of a ride.
Yeah, and we'll talk to Dennis Setzer about that. And first off, let's talk about the news of the weekend and the fact that you are in a new vehicle with a team that's got a lot of success, especially at tracks like this, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You know, Doug Malcolmson and I, we tried to get together early in the year. Some sponsorship didn't come about. This is our first race together, and it's went pretty well. You know, Randy Dean's his crew chief, had some really nice stuff. You know, they've ran well here at Atlanta in the past, and I'm excited about being part of their program. They got some nice equipment. Pretty excited to be in that shop.
Now, they've been out drying this track, a little moisture in the air, and you're way back down here as far as guys going out and qualifying. Is this a good day to go out late and see what this track has in store?
I think so. You know, you'll see how much grip is it with these other trucks as they go out. I can watch them on the big screen and see exactly what lines they take. You know, there were some different lines last night in the Cup qualifying. I was surprised to see Kurt Busch and some of those guys up top in a qualifying lap here, so that might be an option even in the trucks now.
We know how quick things change in NASCAR. You got a new truck driving the 8, which is good news, but Rick was just mentioning the fact that you lost a ride earlier today. What happened up there in the pace vehicle?
Rick didn't really understand. I was going to get in the right side. Kyle come around over there to get in. I was going to get Buster out of the left side. I want to take Kyle around is what the deal was. I was going to see exactly where his line was and stuff.
His truck's good. Don't let him push you around on the racetrack, all right, Dennis?
You got it, man.
This was earlier. Dennis was going to climb in the pace car and take a look at the racetrack, at least kind of get an idea of what the moisture content was in the track. And then Kyle came along, and Kyle jumped in the passenger seat, and Dennis talked to Wayne Otten for a little while.
Again, Kyle was one of the guys going out fairly early. I think he goes out 5th, and then Stacy Compton jumped in, who goes out 2nd and rode around after Kyle did. So I think that's why Dennis got bumped out. But it's nice to make fun of Dennis, and he's such a good sport.
Exactly, very good sport. Colin Brown coming out on the racetrack now. It looks like NASCAR is telling them to report to their trucks as we're getting a little bit closer to seeing qualifying. One other thing about Dennis Setzer, I mean, the guy has been so close to winning a championship in this sport. 3 years in a row he was a runner-up, and so you love to see Dennis in competitive equipment and out there racing week in and week out.
This is a guy that's won 18 of these races. Yeah. He also won a couple of races in the Nationwide Series back in the day, and always competitive. Had a little bit of time in the Cup Series as well, but truly one of the nicest guys in the garage area.
Yep. First guy to go out on the racetrack is going to be Butch Miller. He's scheduled to go out first. Then Chad McCumbee, Stacy Compton, Taylor Malsom, and Kyle Busch. Those are the first 5 that will make qualifying runs. Welcome back. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying about to take place. NASCAR is telling the drivers, get ready. The track is almost ready, so they will be sending trucks out here momentarily. And that means that they're strapping guys in up front, getting ready to go. Chad McCumbee will be climbing into that race truck. He goes out 2nd. Kyle Busch going out 5th. Ron Hornaday goes out 6th. If you haven't been with us for the past 45 minutes, let's catch you up on what has taken place. We started off, again, scheduled to go out at 9:30 this morning was the first truck, but the first truck on the racetrack was the service vehicles trying to dry this racetrack. It was a little bit misty, so they were going to send a driver out to take a look, see if the track was ready. Well, at first it was Dennis Setzer, and then all things changed. Kyle Busch walks up and he gets into the pace car. We had a little fun while Kyle was out checking the racetrack. Ray Dunlap was doing his best impersonation of, well, slapstick comedy. Steering wheel still not on that race truck. That's Butch Miller that will go out first in the 08. The youngest pole winner at Atlanta is David Rudiman, 34 years, 10 days. In the field today, we have 18 drivers that are under the age of 30. So a good possibility we could change that mark.
Yeah, well, if Kyle Busch could win the pole or any one of those other younger drivers that you talk about, then we would shatter that record.
Yeah.
And you know, he is the only pole winner here ever under the age of 40.
Under 40. So every other race has been, the pole has been won by a driver over 40 years old.
And last night in the Cup race, a guy over 50 won the pole.
That's right.
So
for only the second time in history.
Adam Alexander, you got a young man down there, Timothy Peters.
How about one of the great surprises to the early part of 2009? If I had told you 6th at Daytona, 9th at California, and 4th in points after 2 races, would you have taken that?
Absolutely. It's kind of a Cinderella story for our premier race in Tundra. Tell you what, Hayes Iron and Metal, Strutmasters.com, Jared Weldon, Case Wireline Services, Goodrich Hose and Fittings. It's just a bunch of guys that have come together to really help his team propel to where we're at, and hopefully we can get qualifying in today and see what we can do in the race.
You mentioned the sponsors. Unfortunately, those guys not committed at this point to be able to take you all the way. So how much does this on-track success continue to further your schedule in 09?
You know, it really helps us out a lot. Somebody asked me the question yesterday, you know, how is the situation? And we're committed to the first 4, but I know it's some guys sitting at home that have been champions that probably wish they had what we got. So we're still trying to get our on-track success to carry on. We got momentum on our side, so hopefully it'll pay off.
And speaking of sponsorship question marks, Ray Dunlap with Todd Bodine.
Yeah, and it's been interesting, Adam. You know, what an unbelievable season so far for Todd Bodine. A win at Daytona, 2nd at California, but not many stickers on that truck. Can you give us an update of the big picture for Todd Bodine and Germain Racing?
Well, you know, we've got a lot of people looking and searching and trying to help us out. And an old friend of mine came up and called me, and David Williams, and said, I got a company that might be interested in doing something. So he came up here to Atlanta, brought the people with him, and within a matter of 3 hours, we had a deal for Atlanta, and we're hopefully talking about the rest of the season and beyond that. It's a great company, and we want to show you who it is.
All right, well, let's see if we can get the cover off of this 30 truck right here. They'll take it off and check out, and it is Tilted Kilt Pub and Eatery. Now, this place is a very, very interesting concept, a great restaurant, and they brought us in some pictures today, and the only thing I want to make sure is that we don't have to see Todd in one of these plaid skirts that the waitresses wear there. I don't think that's going to look too good on the onion, but great to see some stickers on the 30 truck, and congratulations.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, looking forward to seeing that develop for the Germain family. Tilted Kilt Pub and Eatery on the 30, and the truck is going to the track, guys. Here we go.
It is great to see truck on the racetrack. That's Butch Miller, who will, well, break in the Atlanta Motor Speedway this morning.
And I can't tell you how drastically things just changed on pit road. You know, guys are walking around, laughing, talking about their season.
Yawning.
Just totally relaxed. When that first truck starts up, people just make a beeline for their truck, and they say, okay, it's fixing to get serious here. And this guy, Butch Miller, wide open. He's got to run down to that first turn. First guy on the track. That's not an enviable position to be in, is it, Phil?
It really isn't. Now, if he was Daytona Talladega, be great. You know, no problem to go out there and run wide open. But to try to do that at this racetrack, I mean, you know, we talked to Kyle, and he said, yeah, we're going to run wide open. Ron Horner, they said, yeah, to Ricky Carmichael, you're going to run wide open. But that doesn't mean it's easy to do.
That's right. They told Gabby DiCarlo to go do it yesterday. And
it wasn't easy.
She said, okay, I'll do it. And then I'm sure she went in and said, why'd y'all make me do that? It didn't work.
Qualifying order will roll across the top of the screen. First on the track, that's Butch Miller taking the first lap of time, 33.257.
That's almost exactly what he ran in practice yesterday, within about 0.03 of a second of that.
See if he picks it up a little bit. Got some confidence in the track, was able to run the same time as he ran yesterday, so he might be able to
lean on her a little bit more.
Squeeze a little bit more out of that truck.
Remember, 36 trucks here, Rick, I'm sorry, and then all trucks will make the race, so no sense taking any chances, especially with that first lap on, you know, even if the racetrack is completely dry, which I'm sure NASCAR deemed it completely dry before they sent Butch out there. There's still some residue from the jet dryers that makes the racetrack a little bit slick. So that's something that the guys have to be aware of.
We always mention in qualifying, you never want to be the first guy on the racetrack, no matter where it is or what the conditions are. It's just very difficult to go out there first, and Butch Miller drew that straw. Well, so he goes out and puts the mark of 33.228 on the board.
Last night, Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson were the first couple of guys to go on the track in Cup qualifying. And what you like as a race car driver is like this session will give you consistency. Whether you go out in the first 5 or the last 5, you got a shot at the pole. Same thing last night in Cup qualifying. The track was shaded and cool, and the cars were able to race on the same type of surface from beginning to end.
Should see a little pickup here in the time. Chad McCumbee in practice yesterday, 32.495 in his first practice. So if he's able to duplicate that, that will move him ahead of Butch Miller.
Sounds like he's going faster than Butch. His engine's really screaming there. Teammate to Butch.
Yeah, Chad was actually 5th quickest in that first practice session.
Well, we talked to him, and he's confident about not only how he'll qualify, but the way that truck will race later on today. Likes his truck.
What a great job these guys did in California.
31.819 to be exact.
Very, very close to what he had practiced at yesterday.
Now these guys sitting on pit road after Chad have said, okay, track's back, yep, we're ready to go, let's get with it.
You know, so many of the Sprint Cup cars last night only ran 1 lap because, you know, with about 200 extra horsepower, it's a lot easier to get those cars up to speed than it is these trucks. And I don't know that we're going to see a huge pickup, especially if these guys are out there running wide open. It picks up a 1/10 of a second, which is certainly worth running another lap for.
31.719 for Chad McCumbee. He has set the mark now. Stacy Compton, Taylor Malsom, and Kyle Busch are the next 3 to take on Atlanta Motor Speedway. Bill Scotsman, by the way. Welcome back. Stacy Compton just coming off the racetrack. He's second quick in his effort, 32.07 on lap number 2. And so that moves him ahead of Butch Miller. And now it's Taylor Malsom's attempt in the Randy Moss Motorsports Toyota Tundra.
Just Taylor out here, another one of those young drivers, and his team says, Taylor, you can do it, man. Just go out there and hold that thing wide open.
He seemed less than convinced when we interviewed him earlier that it would work out quite as easily as he was being led to believe, I guess, or they were attempting to lead him to believe.
He's from just around the corner from here, Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, just around the corner. Oh boy. Down the back stretch and into 3 and 4.
Good line there in 3 and 4. He got that thing right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Now swinging up off the turn, trying to keep that motor wound up. That's the goal. You have a couple of responsibilities as a driver, Phil. You want to run the thing wide open, but you also want to arc the truck into the corners and try to bring it up off the corners in a manner that will allow that engine to stay revved up. You don't want to cut it down in the corner sharply and choke down your momentum or your RPMs.
Yeah, you know, the more you turn the steering wheel, the more speed you're going to scrub off. And if you drive in the corner too straight, and then when you get to the center of the corner and have to go the other direction, then you have to put too much wheel input into it.
Lap 2, Taylor Malsom picks it up a bit, 32.462, and he holds on to 3rd spot. Ray Dunlap.
And guys, I'm so impressed with the Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year class that we have here in the Camping World Truck Series this year. And on that list, of course, J.R. Fitzpatrick. What an unbelievable finish. 4th place run at Daytona, and we saw that 7 truck up front so much, but they've had a little bit of trouble down here as they're getting ready to qualify. They've got a small leak in the radiator. They pushed this truck out of line for a few minutes and did a little bit of work on it, so they're going to have to check that out after qualifying is over. JR is climbing into his truck right now, and Butch Hilton is aware of the situation, but a little bit of water coming out of the radiator for JR Fitzpatrick. Adam?
Problems for the 7, no problems for the 07. Chad McCumbee quickest to this point. Feel good about what happened?
Well, I think so. You know, when you told me the time there, I thought that was pretty good. That's a pickup from where we were in practice. We really didn't get to do a mock run in practice like we wanted to, so I'm pleased with that. I was pretty concerned about track conditions, but you know, my job is to hold it wide open, and it stuck. So I felt like it was good to go. I think looks like 51's out there now, so we'll see where we stack up. But really good job for the SS Greenlight guys. They're doing a great job this year so far, and we're all pretty pumped.
Looks like the momentum has indeed carried over.
We'll see how everyone stacks up to Kyle Busch. And he moves McCumbee out of the top spot, 31.507. So about 0.2 of a second faster than Chad McCumbee.
Not quite as fast as he was able to run yesterday, Phil.
But this second lap, though, we may see a little pickup. We've seen a pickup from every single truck on the racetrack. So if Kyle can squeeze out another 10th and a half. And when we talk about these trucks not having as much horsepower, they still probably have 675 to 690 horsepower.
Second lap for Kyle Busch is a little bit quicker, 31.428. So that is the new mark that has been set. That's very consistent to what he ran yesterday. He ran in practice yesterday 31.477. So 31.428, the mark everyone will be shooting for.
And that is faster than the pole last year. The pole last year was a 31.50 something, I believe.
Yep, 5.77 by Hornaday.
I think it's funny we talk about these trucks don't have that much horsepower, and we're talking about more horsepower than most everybody at home watching has ever felt. It's got almost 700 horsepower under the hood, so that's quite a ride Ron Hornaday's in right there.
Ron Hornaday was quickest in the first practice at 31.667. We'll see if he can duplicate that or improve on that in his qualifying effort.
He's going after that 31.42 right now is what he's going after that Kyle Busch just ran.
And I bet you he thinks he can get it. Left pit road thinking I'll get some of that.
Hornaday, the sixth truck that has been on the racetrack.
We've got a couple other guys that may say they have something for that too. Kevin Harvick was very good in practice. Mike Skinner was good.
Hornaday second quick, 31.684. So he has to pick it up over 0.2 of a second if he wants to upend Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see him getting that much. He may get a 10th and a half, but you know, if he was able to run that thing wide open that first lap, I don't think we're going to see that pickup. But nonetheless, a great run for Hornaday.
Good looking truck. I wonder if these guys could see that rain on that camera if it's slowing down any.
Across the line for his second lap. It is a pickup, 31.598. So a little closer to Kyle Busch, but still it's Kyle Busch who set the mark. 31.428 is what everyone is shooting for. Kyle Busch shooting for another pole in the Camping World Truck Series. After missing a win in Daytona, Kyle Busch dominated his way to victory lane in Fontana. Today, Kyle Busch and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series are in Atlanta, where things always get a little rowdy. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing the way it ought to be. Live today, starting with Chris Devoto, the setup 1:30 Eastern. Only on speed. Shane Sieg coming off the racetrack. He is fifth quick of the 7 that have been on the track. Adam?
Kyle Busch had to go out early in the session. Interesting track conditions, and you're faster than Hornaday. So is that thing going to hold up for the pole?
I'm not sure. Well, hopefully so. You know, we've got a pretty good Miccosukee Toyota Tundra here. You know, we know Carmichael's in a Kevin Harvick truck. Kevin's in a Kevin Harvick truck. Delina Harvick truck probably, but we'll see. You know, I'm proud of the effort. You know, these guys have been working their tails off, and we've come out this year kind of showing what we think we know what we're doing, and you know, hopefully we can have something here later on today for them guys.
Good luck going back to back.
All right, thanks.
Ray?
Let's hear from Colin Brown. He already has a pole this year. I saw you on the headset there. Were you talking to Mike Beam?
Yep, I was talking to my crew chief, Mike Beam. It seemed about every time I take the headset off, he'd key up and say something again. So we was back and forth there, but you know, he does a great job for me, and he's obviously up on the truck watching what's going on. So I think we're going to have a good run for this number 6 Conway Freight Ford F-150. Like you said, had the pole in Daytona, it'd be pretty cool to, you know, back it up here in Atlanta.
What kind of information was he giving you?
Just watching what Ron and Kyle Busch were doing, and you know, just in terms of the lines they were running, what they were doing coming out of the pits, things like that.
All right, well, we wish you good luck. He's getting ready to put the helmet on here. He'll roll off in about 3 more trucks.
As James Buescher on the racetrack, 4th quick. Again, 8 have been on the track. James Buescher, one of our Rookie of the Year contenders, just 18 years old, 31.8 1:09 on his second lap.
That was a good run for him. Yeah, good run for him.
A little bit more stable the whole time. Came in better second lap than the first lap.
About 4/10 quicker than what he had practiced yesterday. So good job by James Busher and his guys. Jamie Jones is the crew chief over there on that truck.
Puts him within 4/10 of the pole. So we got 4 trucks and they're only 4/10 apart, and that'll get even tighter as qualifying continues. This guy had a good run yesterday. Solid in that final practice.
Yeah, 10th and 11th in the 2 practices yesterday. This is a lot of talent. Jarrett Fitzpatrick, the youngest NASCAR Canada champion we ever had, and he's still only 20 years old, I believe.
A young man, his best start on the season, 14th at Daytona earlier this year. His career best start, 6th at Phoenix back in 2008.
He's in the Mammoet Chevrolet, which is a Dutch company.
Say that very well.
Which is a Dutch company with they have big cranes,
big movers.
Yeah, big movers. I mean, big stuff.
I thought it had something to do with a kilt again, but different.
No.
Different
country.
Similar, but
different country. Jarrett Fitzpatrick, 4th quick on his first lap. Let's see if he can pick it up.
Stay with it. P4.
He could move ahead of McCumbee if he can pick up that 10th that a lot of guys have been picking up on their second lap.
10th and a half gets him Hornaday too, so he's got a good shot at moving up.
See how he does. Firing out at turn 4, a checkered flag across the finish line, and he does move ahead of McCumbee, but doesn't quite get to Hornaday. So 3rd quick for J.R. Fitzpatrick. And that number 7 Chevy Silverado. Kyle Busch still the guy on top that everyone's shooting for. Can he make it 2 poles in a row? We're about to find out. The Fun Sand Chevy Silverado of Johnny Sauter coming off the racetrack. 6th quick in his qualifying effort, just behind James Busher and just in front of Stacy Compton.
We already have 6 of the 10 trucks right now within a half a second. So this really is going to be a competitive race this afternoon.
Brian Scott now taking to the racetrack. We'll watch him and go down to the garage with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. How about that 4th place run for David Starr and the Zachary team out of California? Can you bring momentum from that race to Atlanta, David?
No doubt about it. The Zachary Toyota Tundra, the same truck we ran in California. And yesterday, the Zachary Toyota Tundra was pretty awesome in practice. But we're having some problems in the bumps over there in 1 and 2. And when both practice sessions were over with, sat down with Matt Falco, our engineer, and Jason Miller, our crew chief, and we decided to go ahead and make some changes to the front springs and front shocks because we're having a hard time getting through the bumps over there. So don't know what to expect here in qualifying, but had to make a change because we didn't have a winning truck for the race. So hopefully we made the right changes and we can put the Zachary Toyota Tundra up near the front.
See, here's the thing. If you go fast enough, you'll go right over top of the bumps and not even hit them, right?
I think if you go fast enough, it messes it up even worse. So I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't.
All right, good luck to you. David Starr getting ready to climb in that number 24.
Always a smile on his face. And Brian Scott, the first one to try the one and done.
Yeah, and I hope that doesn't mean something happened because everybody's been on pit road watching all these trucks run faster on the second lap. So, you know, it could have been a situation where the truck got a little bit too hot and didn't want to take a chance of damaging the engine. So Brian decided to go ahead and shut it off. But see, Colin Brown going to try to use a lot of the racetrack to get up to speed here for this first lap.
That's what Kyle Busch had done earlier. We talked to Colin, and he said Mike Beam had been reporting to him what the other drivers were doing. Kyle Busch left pit road and ran right against the wall all the way to the green, somewhat like we saw him do at California, and then ran really low, just like Colin did there off too, ran really low on his money lap. So just taking the page out of the guy that's on the poles book.
Well, nice arc in that corner for Colin that time, wasn't it? Both ends of the racetrack, a real nice arc. This looks like it's going to be a good lap.
See if Colin Brown can make it 2 poles in 2009. 4th quick for Colin Brown. He moves Chad McCumbee down a spot. Still chasing J.R. Fitzpatrick, Ron Hornaday, and Kyle Busch, though. He's 2/10 of a second, almost 3/10 of a second behind Kyle Busch, and we haven't seen anyone make up that much ground.
Got a little high down there in turns 1 and 2 as well that time through.
Yeah, wasn't able to hold it down. Just a couple hundredths of a second will get him another spot on over J.R. Fitzpatrick. That ends of the racetrack looked a lot better than 1 and 2. We'll see what he does here on lap number 2.
Second lap.
Yeah.
Picks it up just a bit. Doesn't move up. 31.700 for Colin Brown holds him fourth.
Yeah, and that 1 and 2 on that second lap hurt him a little bit, probably a tenth of a second.
Yeah, I think you have to be right on the white line when you're getting your money lap. When you're going the fastest you can go, you got to cut that thing as smoothly as you can right down to the white line, or you won't have a shot to clip Kyle Busch off that pole.
Set down to another Ford driver. He's with Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, we used to call Terry Labonte the Iron Man over in the Sprint Cup Series, but we have our own Iron Man here in the Camping World Truck Series. How about it, Rick Crawford? 300 starts, all with Tom Mitchell, all with Ford. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is a special day for Tom Mitchell and the Mitchell family, and a special day for me too. So appreciate International Trucking Engine staying on board with us Ford, and hopefully have a great day today, and can run some more. I don't know if we got 300 more in us, but maybe a few more years.
Well, we've sure had a lot of fun with Rick Crawford being around today, setting a record in the Camping World Truck Series. Now let's go back down the other end with Adam.
And how about J.R. Fitzpatrick making his 6th career start in the Camping World Truck Series today? And I think it was like 5 minutes ago, Ray Dunlap was reporting you guys were out of line, radiator problems, and now you're third on the board. That's a roller coaster ride, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the leak caught us all by surprise, but the TRG group did an awesome job, put it all back together, and we stayed in our position in line and went out and laid a really good lap. Truck felt great. The whole crew did an awesome job. Good calls by everybody, and I'm excited, man. Moot's back on board, and it seems like every time they're on the truck, we have good runs, so maybe they should stay on all year.
This kid off to a great start in his rookie campaign.
Yeah, the problem, if there was an issue with the radiator and they have to fix something now that it's parked, in the Truck Series, we always impound the trucks right after they qualify. So if there's any adjustment that needs to be made there, he'll have to go to the back. So we'll keep on top of that story. TJ Bell, 8th quick in his qualifying effort. He runs a 31.998 on lap number 2. And that is, again, 8th quickest of the 13 that have been out on the track.
What a terrific start to 2009 for TJ Bell. 11th at Daytona and a career best 5th at California last time out. All the way up to 6th in points after 2 races.
And he loves that truck. He thought he had a really strong truck yesterday in practice. He didn't know how he'd qualify. Obviously, he didn't qualify that well, but thinks it's going to be really good in the race. And I believe him. That kid, he gets one tuned up, and he knows what he knows what he's doing when they throw the green flag.
Matt Crafton now on the clock as he took the green flag at the start line.
Remember when we talked to Matt, he really loves this truck. Same truck he had at California. Had a 7th place finish there. Got behind because of some debris on the radiator, but or on the grill.
Saw some interesting pit strategy out in California. Guys going about it a little bit differently. It's the first chance we had seen at a place other than Daytona how the new pit rules would affect these teams. Some guys just got a little gas at the end. Some guys went for tires. We're going to see some of that today too, Phil. I think it'll really throw a curve into how this race is won, exactly when the caution flag falls and what these guys elect to do on pit road.
And I was talking to Mike Hillman Jr., crew chief for Ty Bodine yesterday, and he said, now I've got to decide when I want to do fuel only.
Right.
You know, that's so there's a lot of strategy going to be involved in this race this afternoon.
That's kind of fun too. You got these guys down on pit road with their having to really make strategy to pick the right strategy in order to try to be able to win, and you don't see that every day. Sometimes it's just black and white. You come in, you get. Good. He loves his truck. He said that every time we've interviewed him. And it's really good. It's still really, really good. But sometimes it's black and white. You pitch, you get your 4 tires, you get your gas, and that's what you do. Here today, it's not black and white. There'll be different agendas that folks.
It's very gray today.
It is.
Not only the overcast skies, but the idea of what we're going to do when the caution comes out at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Ricky Carmichael now on the racetrack from Clearwater, Florida. And the rookie, Revestus Rookie of the Year point standings, J.R. Fitzpatrick with 2 impressive finishes to start off the season, just in front of Ricky Carmichael. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Timothy Peters has his Strutmasters Toyota in line right now. Timothy, what are you looking for in qualifying?
We think we got a good Hayes Iron and Metal, Strutmasters.com, Tundra, get a top 10. Chad Kendrick and all the guys made great calls during practice yesterday to get it the speed that we need, so hopefully the mist don't mess with us too bad. We can get that top 10.
You like Atlanta?
Absolutely. No place like it.
That's for sure. No doubt about it. Let's check in with Adam.
And
we talked, Ray, about the possibilities of Colin Brown getting his second pole in 09. That didn't happen, but are you satisfied with where you sit now, fourth?
Well, I think it was a good lap for this number 6 Colin Freight Ford F-150 truck. You know, talked to my crew chief there about what lines to run, and you know, I think it went okay. We didn't make a run yesterday in practice, so I feel like, you know, just being able to go out there and make your first qualifying attempt and be inside the top 5, I think it'll be good. Hopefully that'll keep us inside the top 10 here for the start of the race.
Did you miss anything in turn 2? The guys were talking about how you got through the corner over there.
Yeah, you know, the first lap, we were going to try and run just a normal, you know, line through turn 2, and kind of, you know, turned down in there, and I guess arced it in enough where we didn't need to run all the way out to the wall. So I just let the steering wheel unwind and only needed to go to about the middle of the racetrack. And then the next lap we were going to try and make as short a lap as we could and run the bottom all the way around. And, you know, got to the middle of the corner and started to get tight and had to let it out to the wall. So I kind of screwed up there on the second lap on my part. You know, should have probably just kept it pinched down a little bit more there, but just got tight enough where I had to get up to the wall.
And I think I know Colin Brown well enough to know he's not worried about his second pole. He wants his first win of 2009.
Next driver to come out, Starr, Crawford, and Bliss. We'll be back to see them. Kyle Busch is the guy they're shooting for, over 176 miles an hour. David Starr's qualifying effort in his Zachary Toyota Tundra. 12th quick, 32.12 on his second lap.
Here's Mr. 300.
Rick Crawford now on the racetrack.
Rick wasn't right down on the bottom of the racetrack. He was about a half a lane off the bottom. Down that end, let's see if he gets down right down to the white line in this end of the racetrack.
I know he's real proud of that hood. Look at that.
Yeah.
Rick Crawford's 300th start.
And he's a track record holder here at this racetrack.
Oh, and he ran up to second spot on his first lap.
He's got a shot. He's got a shot at this pole right here.
He is a 10th behind Kyle Busch. That's about what everyone has been. Oh, yeah.
It just got up a little high with him there in 1 and 2.
Just like Colin Brown looked like.
Might hurt him. Probably still be able to maybe pick it up a little, Phil. You could tell he just wanted it, Phil. He went down in turn 1 and ran as hard as he could, and it looked like it just developed a bit of a push. See if he's able to do anything with him.
Does he pick up on lap 2? He does, but not enough.
P2, good job, buddy. Way to do it.
Kevin Cowboy Starlin, his crew chief, letting him know, good job. In your 300 start, looks like you might have a top 5 for sure.
And Rick's going to be upset with that, because he knows that the second lap was not quite as good as that first lap. He picked up about 300ths of a second, but he knew there was probably a 10th there from what he's seen, and it just eased up on him a little bit through 1 and 2.
And a 10th would have done it. And I know he thought it was in the truck.
Mr. 300 coming off the racetrack. Mr. 200 is with AA.
Yeah, and I don't think the racing gods have been good to Matt Crafton, because on the weekend when you're making this monumental 200 start, Rick Crawford's making his 300. It's the most of all time. I think you're on the short end of that deal.
Yeah, it's all right. He's the old guy, so I'll give him all the starts. I think we got a really good race truck, like I said, for qualifying. My fastest lap was my 12th lap. I mean, it ran a pretty good lap. I mean, I was happy with what it did, but I said we got a really good race truck. Our Menards Chevy. We got Tide on the hood. Have you seen that? I mean, it's been a long time since Tide in the sport, so it's good to have them on the hood this weekend. But like I said, this will be a good truck.
Top 10 run in qualifying. Matt hoping it's lucky number 200 for him.
Still likes his truck, y'all.
How about lucky number 2? Like win number 2 for Matt Crafton.
Now this is a guy that's making a qualifying run just a formality, because he's running on the bottom, and when they throw the green flag, he'll go into turn 1 and be next to the wall, and he'll stay there. He did it in California.
At least 3 wide.
I did not know there was a groove where he ran at California.
Especially that early.
He made it work. You know that's what it's going to be when they throw the green flag here on speed later on this afternoon.
Mike Bliss, one of the drivers who has won at this racetrack back in 2006. He went to victory lane. His qualifying effort, 14th quick. picked it up just a bit on lap number 2, 32.130. Ray Dunlap, what's going on in the meteorology world?
Well, I'll tell you, Rick, Todd Bodine and the rest of the drivers in this field may have a little bit of a disadvantage because the sun has just begun to peek out. I've taken the jacket off. The temperature is coming up just a little bit. You can feel the temperature changing down here on pit road, and that is certainly going to make a difference on the racetrack out here. We've had complete overcast and a slight bit of mist, but right now temperature beginning to change, and we're predicting 74 degrees this afternoon here at Atlanta. Should be a beautiful day for racing when we get ready to go this afternoon.
Tilted kill. By the way, that was the sun, that shot that we saw earlier. Just
I thought it was Saturn.
A little bit of a haze, but that's it's breaking through, which fans are very, very excited about here at Atlanta.
Tell you another thing that's exciting is he's got a sponsor on the hood of that truck just at the 11th hour. Geico came on board to help them get here, and then he got that sponsor getting last night.
We need to get him to Martinsville now.
Yeah,
we've got to keep this team on the track, and Tilted Kilt is gonna looks like it's gonna work that out for him, and that's great.
First lap for Todd Bodine in his qualifying effort. Third quick for Todd Bodine. Let's see if he can pick it up on lap 2.
That's not out of the question. He needs about a 1/10 and a half.
No, and he's able to tuck that thing down to the bottom off turn 2. So this is, I think he's going to pick up quite a bit of time here on this. I believe he could pick up a 1/10 and a half. I like the line he ran through 1 and 2.
Be a great gift for that new sponsor pole in their first time out. If he picks up a 1/10, he'll get second. If he picks up a 1/10 and a half, he'll get the pole. See what he does.
Cross the start finish line, and he stays third.
He picked up 1/1000th of a second. After all that pumping up we did, he picked up 1/1000th of a second.
Tilted Kilt coming on board of his Toyota Tundra, as well as Geico, and they also get some help from Toyota with the motors. Kyle Busch still holding on to that top spot. Rick Crawford on the outside of row 1 right now. Tomorrow on Speed, NASCAR Race Day rolls into Atlanta, one of the fastest tracks on the circuit and one of the most unforgiving. It's racing on a razor's edge, and only one pre-race show can set the stage. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Live coverage begins tomorrow, 11:30 Eastern.
Great cast of characters on that show, and there's Timothy Peters, 14th quickest of the 20 trucks that have made a qualifying run so far.
On the track, Brendan Knupp will put his truck in qualifying mode and head around for 2 laps. And let's go down to Adam Alexander.
And as soon as Rick Crawford climbed from the truck, Ron Hornaday came over and said it must get better with age. But I want to comment on what Phil Parsons said. As soon as it finished and you were second, he said he's not going to be satisfied with that. Is he right?
Well, if you're that close, you want to be first.
So he is right then.
If you're starting on the front row for your 300 start, that's pretty good. But you know, it's 150 races, I think, are a little bit more for speed for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and you guys do a heck of a job too.
We appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without the veterans like Rick Crawford. Ray?
Adam, down on this end, the next truck to go out on the track will be Brian Silas in that 48. You see Rockingham Speedway on there. Of course, the big Carolina 200 coming up on April 19th. And the owner of that truck is Andy Hillenberg, and he just has another job, too. He happens to be the promoter and owner down at Rockingham Speedway. But he is watching for his truck. But check this out, guys. What do you do when you're the promoter? You got a lot of different things that you got to keep track of, and you got to carry around a lot of keys. He's got a lot of balls juggling in the air, but man, does he have a lot of keys. He's a janitor.
Well, you got to get the cleaning supplies. Now on the racetrack, it's that number 8 of Dennis Setzer.
He's really pumped up about this ride, isn't he, Phil?
He really is. Dennis, I just love talking to Dennis, and you could see the excitement when we talked to him earlier in the show. They tried to get this situation going for the entire year, and it took him a couple weeks and few weeks to get it going, but here he is, and a great run on lap number 1 for Dennis. 9th quickest, 31.794. If Dennis could pick up a 1/10 of a second, he's liable to move up into the top 5.
Yeah. See if he can do it.
I bet he does.
Rocketing down the backstretch.
I'm going to think this truck picks up a 1/10 of a second. And what a great story this would be to watch Dennis get up there and battle with Rick Crawford. A couple of guys that have been here for a long time and had a lot of success. I'd like to see that success revisited this afternoon.
All the way up to 5th quickest for Dennis Setzer. How about that? 31.679.
Did you hear the crew chief? I told you you could run it. I told you you could do it.
I was right.
So Dennis Setzer breaks into the top 5 in qualifying. Max Pappas about ready to go out on the racetrack. We'll be right back with more qualifying here on Speed. Welcome back. Brian Silas coming off the racetrack. He was 19th quick in his qualifying effort. Only ran 1 lap. And that was 32.315.
And by the way, that Rockingham Speedway Carolina 200 will be live right here on Speed April 19th.
That's the ARCA Remax Series, by the way.
That's right.
Making sure everyone knows that. Gabby DiCarlo now in her Great Clips Toyota Tundra on the racetrack. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Hello. Well, I'll go as soon as they open my mic because I wanted to tell you guys that Gabby DiCarlo is not feeling well at all today. She's been to the infield care center and had a couple of IVs to try to get some fluid in. She's got a bad case of the flu. But Mike Skinner is climbing into his Exide Toyota real quick, and he's always one of those guys to watch for the pole. You got anything for Kyle today, Mike?
I don't think so. The sun's coming out, racetrack's getting a little warmer. I don't think we had anything for him before, though, but I think we got a great Exide Tundra, and I think we're going to race really, really well. I hope we can get somewhere in the top 10 here to start.
All right, 4 top 10s in his last 5 races here at Atlanta, including a win, guys. I think Skinner may be a factor later today.
And how about Todd Bodine, currently 3rd on the board? So what creates more pressure? The fact that you had a good qualifying run, or that you got a sponsor on the hood that could be here the rest of the year?
No pressure. No pressure at all. Yeah, we're really happy to have Tilted Kilt on board this week, and hopefully the rest of the year. You know, they love the sport, they love the trucks, and you know, it was a short deal. It took about 2 hours yesterday of hanging out in the garage area and seeing what NASCAR and the trucks are all about. They wanted to be a part of it, so you know, we got to sit down and hammer out the details. But hopefully it'll be around the rest of the year. We got a great Tundra today. It really was good on old tires, and as you know, Atlanta gets really slick on these old tires. The track is so wore out, and these tires are so hard that balance is the key. And I think we got a really good Tundra.
First at Daytona, 2nd at California. Another run like that today may ensure Todd Bodine is around the rest of the year.
Well, that would be great. We sure need that truck around, and Todd.
Chris Jones on the racetrack now in his number 87 Chevy Silverado for his first lap of qualifying. And he's 25th quickest.
34.894, 158.88. That is the slowest truck so far of the 25 trucks that have been on the racetrack.
You could look at that 2 ways. Rick went with the last quick.
I said 25th quickest.
He went with the last quickest, and you went with the slowest. Yeah.
Which is pretty much at the end of the day is the same.
It's either half full or if tapped empty. Lap number 2 for Chris Jones. We'll see if he picks up on 34.894.
He does. Still last quickest, though.
34.528.
And
still 25th.
And what else, Phil?
And slowest.
Slowest both.
But that's okay. We know 36 trucks here. 36 trucks will start. So
he's in the show.
Chris will be in this show here later this afternoon.
And I loved what James Busher said earlier today. He said, I can't make my truck faster if I'm working on it because I wrecked it. So Chris Jones did just what he needed to do. He went out, ran 2 laps. He's in the race. He can now learn, figure out what it's going to take for him to be faster next time.
There's a guy down in the garage area with Ray that had a great run at Daytona. He finished 3rd. Ray, who have you got?
It's Terry Cook, Phil, and it's interesting. Now we're talking about Crawford with 300 starts. Terry with 293, not far behind him. But how about the roller coaster ride this business gives you? A 3rd at Daytona, then go to California and get a hole in the oil cooler.
Yeah, it was a shame. The Harris Trucking Toyota Tundra was fast out there too. You know, it'd be different if we were running around the background 20, 25th and have a hole in the oil cooler to put us out of race. But when you're running just outside the top 5 and making adjustments, getting better, that was pretty frustrating. But we're at Atlanta. We've had a little bit of rain, a little bit of sun. The only thing we're missing is snow, and hopefully we won't get that. And get a good qualifying spot for our Harris Trucking Toyota Tundra.
We're thinking it's going to be sunshine and warm, and we hope he goes fast and makes that number 25 truck look hot.
The Geico Toyota Tundra, teammate to Todd Bodine. That's Max Pappas on the racetrack now.
What a great run for Max out in California. He got a top 10 finish. Then in Vegas a week later makes his first oval track cup start. And then a solid run here today.
8th quick for Max Pappas on lap number 1.
He's got a real shot at moving up into the top 5. He's only about 0.04 of a second right now behind Dennis Setzer, who is 5th. So I think Max, if he gets through this end of the racetrack, I believe he's going to jump in the top 5.
I think he got just a little high in 3 and 4, but I mean, excuse me, 1 and 2, but I'm sure he didn't let off the gas. So he looks like he's got a lot of momentum off 4.
See how he does across the finish line for lap 2. Max Pappas.
Oh, slowed down.
First one.
I think he pushed off turn 2 over there and hurt his backstretch speed.
And that's how finicky these trucks are. When you're out there trying to run wide open and you get the least bit of a bobble, and it's not like he backed off the throttle. He just had to put a little bit too much wheel into it, scrubbed off a little speed, and slowed him down a 1/10.5. Still a great run, though, for Max.
Great run for Max Pappas. Could start in the top 10 today at Atlanta. Ray Dunlap.
Rick Corelli and Kevin Harvick having a conversation down here. Your first truck start at Atlanta, but let's go back a few years to that first big Cup win here. How cool is that memory? Still fresh in your mind?
Well, I tell this to a lot of people. That day is not fresh in my mind. There's not a lot about that day that I remember. There was so much going on in my life at that point with everything that had just happened with Dale about 3 weeks earlier. I mean, just a lot of mixed emotions from that particular day. But it is the place where we won our first race, and that was big for my career and a team and everybody involved. So that was pretty cool.
All right, and we know that Ryan Newman won here last fall, and Ron Hornaday with all his second place runs. You got to figure KHI will certainly be a factor in today's event.
Right now, his teammate Ron Hornaday and driver is 4th quickest, and then Ricky Carmichael is 12th quickest, and Kevin Harvick will go out 34th of the 36 trucks in qualifying.
Johnny Benson making his run. That truck never was really Johnny Benson-esque yesterday. He just couldn't find the speed in it, and it looks like he's still searching for it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a situation that we can rule him out this afternoon, because Johnny always runs well. He and Tripp will get together. They'll make adjustments on that truck in the 2 or 3 pit stops that we'll have during this race, and you know, do not be too surprised to see that truck battling up front.
We always talk about attitude. It looks like the right side of that truck stays a little bit higher in the air than the left, so not sealed to the ground like we've seen before.
Yeah, that
Johnny
left
Benson.
side of that splitter's right down, Rick, where you want it, but the right side is up. I noticed that in practice yesterday.
14th quick for Johnny Benson in his qualifying effort. We still have Mike Skinner as well as Terry Cook, Kevin Harvick to take to the track to find out if they can upend Kyle Busch, who's on top of the chart in qualifying for the Truck Series. Welcome back. Qualifying continuing for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series as Clay Rogers rolls off of the racetrack. He was 23rd quick in his qualifying effort. Now it's time for Mike Skinner to take his try at the 1.5-mile racetrack. And whenever you talk about qualifying, you've got to mention Mike Skinner as a possibility for the pole. He has 47 of them in his career.
I was going to say, I think he had 200 or 300 poles here in the Truck Series.
What I like, and I believe every time before he got it, he said he wasn't really a contender for the pole.
Right.
He said that earlier when we interviewed him. He said, I don't think I got anything for the pole, but he loves this truck, and it looks like he's got a great line. I love the way this man qualifies. He's taking the shortest way around the track on this first lap.
Lap number 1 for Mike Skinner is 11th quick, so he may have been telling the truth. 31.794 for Skinner on lap 1.
It looks like it's handling perfect, though, so he could pick out. Look at the front of the truck on the straightaway, though, Phil. It's not quite down like we've seen a lot of the trucks.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the trucks with the splitter sealed to the racetrack, even down the straightaways, and that truck is not
coil
like
bound
that.
versus conventional.
He's probably coil bound, but not as soft as some of the other trucks that we've seen.
It looks like it handles good, which could pay dividends later today.
Moves him all the way up to 7th on lap 2. 31.693 for Mike Skinner. So looks like another top 10 start for Skinner. Adam Alexander.
And it also means as of now he will start on track behind this guy. Dennis Setzer had a nice top 5 qualifying run. Good start with your new team, but we're seeing different weather conditions than what we saw yesterday. How can that impact the race today, Dennis?
It should make it a little better, you know, if this overcast stays like this. You know, the tire wear was pretty good yesterday, better than I've seen in Atlanta here in the last while. We run probably 40 laps on our tires still. The right front looked great. Right rear wasn't as bad as usual. So, you know, this could even make it better if this temperature stays cool and a little bit overcast.
And the tires will be something that we talk about throughout the afternoon. Always is at Atlanta, guys.
Mario Gosselin on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. team truck to that 72 of Clay Rogers.
Looks just like it.
Very similar.
You know, it would take you 36 days and 1 hour to walk from Seattle to here.
To Atlanta? How'd you figure that out?
Just been thinking about it.
Random thoughts with Michael Waltrip. Mario Goslin from Canada.
I wonder how long it would take to walk from Quebec where Mario's from.
Good question.
Let's put you on that.
Let me ponder that for a bit, and I'll come back to you, Russell.
By the way, neither one of us are named Russell, so he's talking about Russell Winrich, who sits next to us up here and is the smart one of the group.
Look at the attitude of that truck. They got it figured out.
Yeah, right down there on the racetrack. That's what we were looking for from Skinner. His truck wasn't quite like that, even though he ran extremely well and qualified 7th.
And I like the line Skinner was able to take. I mean, he tucked that truck right to the bottom, and when it handles that good in qualifying, could be a truck to watch this afternoon.
So Mario finishes up his qualifying effort. He's 26 quick. Again, coming up, Terry Cook and Kevin Harvick still to qualify in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Kyle Busch, Rick Crawford, Todd Bodine, Ron Hornaday, and Dennis Setzer all putting up impressive times for their qualifying effort. Coming off the racetrack, Norm Benning in the number 57 Chevy Silverado. He was 31st quickest of 31 that have been on the track. Phil, do you want to correct me on that?
He's also the slowest.
Okay, let's just making sure we're on the same page there. Terry Cook out on the racetrack now in his Harris Trucking number 25 Toyota Tundra.
A great third-place run down at Daytona for Terry Cook.
Chrome wheels.
I love those chrome wheels. I think I'll put, no, I do have those on my car.
Jim Harris, owner of this organization.
Teammate to David Starr.
24 and 25 running out of Harris Trucking.
ODW drove for Jim Harris, you know. Ran a truck race or two for Jim.
Nice guy. One of the nicest guys in the garage.
Spectacular.
Daryl? Oh, he meant
Jim. And Jim.
Both.
I'm going to go with both. Across the start finish line, 17th quick for Terry Cook on his first lap, 32.059. If he's able to pick up that 10th of a second, he could jump all the way up to 15th.
I think he will. Looks like a good line. Ray?
Guys, you know what was really odd about the fact that they had that hole in the oil cooler out there is the fact that it was on the back side of the radiator. So apparently the bolt or whatever hit it must have come up underneath the truck and bounced off the inside of the crush panel and come back towards the front of the truck. So a very, very strange circumstance for them to get the hole where they did. Danny Rollins, crew chief, was just absolutely befuddled about how it happened. But of course, that didn't get them a very good finish at California. Nowhere near as well as they ran that day.
A little pickup on lap number 2 for Terry.
That gives us 15 trucks, Phil, within about a half a second of one another. That's amazing. You talk about the great racing, the great finishes you see here. That's why.
Exactly. And we're going to have another truck right in that mix, too. Kevin Harvick is going to be out in a couple more trucks, and he will definitely be up in that within that half a second, unless he gets the pole maybe and lengthens it a little bit.
He could go on the other side of it.
Let's go back to the garage and Adam Alexander.
And Rick, we know success in NASCAR is a work in progress. Mike Skinner 7th, but you feel like you can get better, I guess.
Well, I think so. The truck drove really, really well, but we've got the nose awfully high, and it's pulling some drag into the truck, and we're going to have to find a line no one else is running, kind of like we did at California, to be able to move up a little bit. But you know, Eric and I just started working together, and it's going to take a little bit of time to figure it out and figure out what each other wants. And you know, we got the thing down yesterday in practice, and it picked up about 3/10, which that would have put us right in the hunt right there. But we really couldn't make it feel like it was going to race good like that. So we kind of went back to this setup. I think we'll race okay. I don't know that we're a threat, but I'm excited just to drive this truck. It's an honor to drive it. They put a lot of pride in these things, and we're going to get better.
And the theme at Daytona a few weeks ago, new teams working together. That's what they're doing in the 5 camp.
Johnny Chapman in the gunbroker.com Dodge.
That's a teammate to Jason White, who will be out here. Actually, the last truck to qualify is Jason White in the 23 gunbroker.com Dodge.
Johnny's first lap, 27th quick, 32.486.
And guys, that's only about a second off our pole right now of Kyle Busch. So we have about, and Johnny picks it up on lap number 2. to 25th, 32.408. So right now we have.
Look good, John. Look good, buddy.
25 trucks within a second.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a second around a mile-and-a-half track.
Yeah. You look a little antsy, Michael. You getting ready to go somewhere?
Yeah, I got to go practice the Napa Toyota, and I've been pondering how far it is from Quebec. And it's
did you figure it out?
1,977 kilometers. It'll take you.
How long to walk?
16 days, 20 hours, I'm going to say, and that's Canadian time.
Well, how long would it take you to walk in American time then?
Is that not?
I have to get back with you on that. I did it all.
Yeah,
I did it all in Canadian.
I was going to say, is that a different time zone?
It could be. I'll let you know.
Kevin Harvick now on the racetrack. Let's see how he does in his number 2 Chevy Silverado. Again, his teammate Ron Hornaday has qualified 4th. And his other teammate, Ricky Carmichael, is 13th.
Ooh, it looked like it bounced a little bit down in turn 1 and 2 there, Phil.
Shoved him up the racetrack a little bit, didn't it?
Just a little bit bouncy.
Looks like he's able to hold it down pretty well in 3 and 4.
Let's see if he can get through 1 and 2 better this time. This is going to be a fast lap. His truck's fast, no doubt.
Looks good on the track, and it's 3rd quick for Kevin Harvick. He is a 10th and a half behind Kyle Busch. Can he get the pole?
It just had something in the middle of the corner it doesn't like. Did you see it? It did it again.
Yeah, just at that end of the racetrack, not the other end. He gets through 3 and 4 fine. But that's going to be where the difference is. That's where he's going to lose that pole, is right there in the center of 1 and 2.
And when the race starts, he has a solution for that.
Yeah.
He just won't go there.
Exactly. He'll go anywhere else but there. See if he can jump up to at least 2nd here on lap number 2. Not able to do it.
Does not move up as much as others had. 31.554 on lap number 2. That holds the 3rd spot for Kevin Harvick. So in front of him will be Kyle Busch and Rick Crawford.
I'll see you guys in a little while.
Mikey,
have fun. Go enjoy the Sprint Cup car.
Have a good practice.
All right.
We'll see you for the race.
Yeah.
For the setup.
For the setup. Chris Devoda.
I love it.
All right. You'll be a part of it. Brent Raymer's shot at the racetrack now in the number 85. If you remember back at the beginning of the season, Brent Raymer coming out of turn number 2 Daytona got a little bit loose, and right up into the wall he goes. What a hard hit this was.
Just take a look back. Look right of your screen. Hard hit in the outside wall, and he's not done yet. The throttle is hung. Watch, he's going to hit the outside wall. And the problem with that second hit is everything had already been crushed, so that was just solid into the engine.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we saw Brent walk away to the ambulance. Watch his second hit. Incredibly hard. You see him right there walking away to the ambulance, and guess what, guys? He's here racing.
He's here, and he's on the racetrack, and he's qualifying. So Brent Raymer across the finish line for lap number 1, 32.697. That's 30th quick.
He slides up the racetrack a little bit down there in 1 and 2. Not quite able to keep that truck down where you would like to.
Here's another one where the splitter's probably 2-3 inches off the racetrack going down the straightaway. Gets a little bit closer through the turns, but still riding pretty high in the air.
Yeah, and that's indicative of a conventional setup. You know, very stiff springs in the front to keep the truck up off the racetrack, not the coil bind setup.
Moves up a spot, 29th quick for Brent, and that will leave one driver remaining to qualify, and that is Jason White. So again, 36 trucks are taking time today at Atlanta Motor Speedway for 36 spots. Kyle Busch has the best time at 31.428. Rick Crawford just outside of him at 31.509. Let's see if Jason White has anything for those two drivers.
I think Jason, you can see his splitter sealed off pretty well to the racetrack. See if Jason can get him possibly a good top 20 qualifying start here. Truck looks pretty good down there through 1 and 2.
Jason White, another one of those drivers I mentioned earlier that's under the age of 30. So he could also keep that or break the record. Our youngest pole sitter was David Ruderman at 34 years old in the truck series here at this racetrack. Jason White's first lap, 14th quickest, 31.873.
Here the crew chief said, come on, baby, give me some.
So a good lap, but it doesn't look like he's going to upend Kyle Busch. That means we will have our youngest pole sitter ever, Kyle Busch, just 23 years old, 10 months and 5 days today.
Jason said, my tongue's hanging out now. I gave you all I had that first lap. We'll see what the truck gives him on lap number 2.
And across the start-finish line for Jason White, doesn't move up. He's 14th quickest. That means Kyle Busch is your pole winner from Atlanta. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, 3 wins and 4 starts at this track, and now a pole. That's some pretty good medicine. Got to make you feel a little better, eh?
It does, certainly. You know, Mikasuki Toyota was awesome today, and you know, you got to do is hold it down, and you know, we got a great run there. Doug and all the guys have done a great job in preparing these things and getting them a little bit faster. We needed something, just a little something to catch up with the 33 and stuff. So qualifying seemed to bode well for us. Hopefully the race will too here later.
All right, good luck to you. That is Rowdy Busch. He is off to Cup practice, and in just a little while he'll lead the field to the green.
Pretty impressive for Doug George and Kyle Busch. The last 2 races they have started on the pole, and remember in California where he ended up
in victory lane.
In victory lane. Here's your Camping World front row. Kyle Busch and Rick Crawford will bring the field to the green flag later on this afternoon. That is a 1:30 setup start time and a little after 2. Sprint Cup practice is next on Speed, so stay right here. 4th Keystone pole for Kyle Busch in the Camping World Truck Series.